Hey, what's up, guys? So, welcome to my channel, CGR. If you are new to this, make sure you subscribe, like, share this video, and of course, hit that notification bell. And as you can see, we're in the Taurus, so it's time for another Taurus mod. So, as you can see, I have it all dismantled. We are gonna switch out this instrument cluster with a Taurus show cluster, and I'm gonna show you with this one with a dual screen on the side, one on the left, one on the right, and then the speedometer in the middle. Much cleaner setup, much nicer. And the reason I am doing that is because on my instrument clusters, you could see that's not part of the, of how the camera looks. On here, it's all scratched up, all here as well. It's real faded. And when I got this car, this was the first thing that, it just really irritated me of how it looked. It just doesn't look clean at all. Especially, this is what you're looking at most of the time going down the road. So let's replace that with an instrument cluster from a Taurus show. Now, I saw this from a Taurus group on Facebook that somebody did on theirs, so I'm not going to take credit for this. Now, I did find this cluster on eBay. It was about $50. There was one for a 2015, and I was going to get it, but I found one for a 2013, and this is a 2013. So I don't know if there's a huge difference. I don't think there is, but I just didn't want to risk it, and I just took the one that was for the same year, which would be of course, the 2013. So let's get started. I'm gonna show you guys how to, obviously this is already taken apart, but I'm gonna show you guys how to take everything apart. So with that being said, let me turn the vehicle off. In order to remove this bottom panel, which would be this panel right here, it just has two screws, which is, you can see them right there. So when that's under here, there'll be two screws. Once you take those two screws off, they are 7mm. Once you take them off, you pop it off, and it's just tabs, and it comes right off. Next piece you will take off is right here, which is this one. Literally, you just it had another 8mm. Sorry. It had another 8mm that was holding it in place. So once you take that 8mm off, you pop it off, and you are able to disconnect this from the back. Next piece you will take off is the one right here, which is the neighbor of this one. The way you take that off is you just lift this off. Literally just snaps right off. And this one had no screw holding it on, so it just snapped right off. After that, you just have the cluster, well, the cover for it, and it had two 8mm, one right there, and I believe there was one right here. I'm not sure, it might have not been, which was right here. Once you take that one off, it just literally snaps off, and it comes out forward. I did lower the steering wheel, and I did turn the car on and put it in drive and lowered this so that I was able to take it off a little more easier. And then you get to exactly where I'm at. Now, as you can see, it has, let's see, 1, I see one screw, one here, looks like another 8, and let me see, another one right here, and oh, I feel one right here actually. It seems a little smaller. It might be a 6, but I'll let you guys know. And another one right here. So it's got a total of 4 screws holding this in. So I'm about to take off this one, and the 2 on top. Unfortunately, I don't have a tripod to hold this, so I'm going to take that off, and then once I take that off, we'll get to the next step. And important note, the new instrument cluster that I got from the show, I believe it came off of one that has 34,000 miles. This Taurus currently has about 93,000. And I did take a picture of it before I take it off. And then make sure you take a picture of your new cluster. That way you can make the difference and you know what mileage you have. Now there is a way to change the mileage on the new cluster, but I don't really feel like taking this to the dealer, or I'm sure you could change it some other way. I'm just not going to bother with that. If it says 34,000, that's what it is. I'm not going to try to sell the vehicle like it has 34,000. Of course, if it ever came to that, I get that corrected. So let me take off those 4 screws and then we'll go on to the next. All right, so I did remove those 4 screws that we were talking about. One there, one in that corner, and one in this corner. Now I did notice when I was trying to see, I have it all loose now. I did notice that this was in the way. So I did take off these 2 8mm in order to take this air duct out the way. So once that's out the way, this should come off. There you go, much loose. So now I'm gonna disconnect it from the back, and I'm just gonna mock up the new one in the back, set it up, and we'll take it on to the next step. So as you can see, once I did all that, it easily came off, and it just had this connection in the back, and it just put a little pressure here and it does come off, no problems. Now the reason I wanted to show you guys this is because it is really dirty back here, especially here and around this vent area and up here. So before I put this all back together, and you probably will never end up taking this apart again, I'm gonna grab a towel and clean that up and then place in the new one, and just have it mocked up for you guys. So let's go on to that next step right now. So I got that mocked up. I cleaned up as best as I could. You know, it's much cleaner than what it was. So I put the 4 screws back in. Right now they're just in, it's not tight yet. And then I put that air vent back, and then I put the 2 screws in there. So next I'm gonna tighten them up, and then I'll hook up this connector real quick for the dimmer, just because I don't know what setting it's on currently, and then we'll take it from there. Alright guys, so I have it connected. So I put all the screws back on, and then I just hooked this up just to make sure if the display was dim. So let's test it out. So I'm just gonna put the key in. See, as I already put the key in, it's already lighting up. So as you can see, yeah, it did have 34,000 miles. Just get that little, there you go. So let's turn the car on. So as you can see, everything is working nicely. Awesome. And you can go to different display modes. You got that one. Your RPM, so you can see they still work. You got your temperature, fuel, and RPM. or just how many miles till you're empty. And then of course I set up the compass because you could go back, and you know, of course, unfortunately, this doesn't have the phone, but it still says the temperature out there, so you can see it says 64 degrees and tells you the time. So I can go to entertainment. Let me see if I change the radio station. So it even shows what it's playing right there. So as you can see, there you go. That's pretty cool. So I'm probably just gonna leave it like that. Much better. Let's see the dim. So you can see it dims. But I always like it at the brightest. So I'm gonna leave it at the brightest setting. Obviously my next step would be replacing this radio. Try to get it to the factory one. Came with the Tauruses. I've seen people do it, and hopefully, you know, we'll be able to do that. So as you can see, I'm gonna make sure to take a picture of that because that mileage is not, you know, obviously what I had in my other car on my last odometer. And then, like I said, there is a way to reprogram this, but I'm just not gonna bother with it right now. But it was a big pet peeve of mine. But look at that cluster, it looks much cleaner now, way cleaner. Now I'm gonna clean this right here, put it back on, show you guys once it's on, and then put this, leave it. I'm gonna leave this how it is right now because it's not in my way. And then I'm gonna take you guys through each panel that you're putting back in to the very last one till it's all complete. So let's get to the next step. Okay guys, so finally on to the next step. So I put this in. The way I got it in is I turned the vehicle on, put it in drive. Be careful, you know it's in drive. And then I kind of scooped it in, if it makes any sense to you, because there's two tabs on this actual piece, so you want to be careful not to break them. You line them up and then you push it right in and it'll snap right on. And then there's just an 8mm that you see right there. And then after that, since I left this piece hanging, you just put it on, snaps on, you just line up the tabs. One more 8mm right here, that's on. So next step would be putting on this other piece right here that's on this corner. And then I'm just going to turn the car off now and snap that piece on and take you on to the next step. Alright, so I got that corner piece in. Like I said, you just snap this off, just push it back a little bit, and that piece has three tabs. There's only one way to line it up, so you can't mess it up. I did do it with the vehicle still in drive, so I could sneak that piece right behind, and it just snaps right up. So final step would just be snapping on that board. So I'm going to line it up with the vehicle off, and that should technically be the last step. So I'm going to get to that then. Alright guys, so I got that final piece lined up. So you just push all the tabs in, give it a good, sure all the tabs are in, give it a good smack. Put the 2/8, you'll see them, they're very visible. 2/8, tying it up, and that's it. So as you can see, it's all back together. So there it is. It looks way better now. Honestly, it's a big change, like a day to night change, like compared to the one that we had, which I'll take out right now. I'm gonna save it. I'll still have it, as you can see why I wanted to change it. Look, see how that how it looks off screen like that. No matter how much cleaning I did or everything, it would not come off. It was very scratched up everywhere, bunch of scratches. So every time I drove this car, it was very irritating to look at. And compared to what I'm looking at now, a much nicer. That looks way nicer. I didn't even think that radio display was gonna work because, you know, being on this, but it's working. So I'm glad it is. And, you know, this goes to show you you could do it to your car. This is a 2013 Ford Police Interceptor sedan. I was gonna buy a 2015, but I just decided to go with a 2013 just because it was the same year. I'm 100% sure the 2015 would work just fine, but you know, hey, I found it, so I'm gonna give a huge shout out to the guy that I saw this on the post. Unfortunately, sorry, I don't remember your name. I'm not gonna take credit for this, but I believe this was from a show, but also I think you could find them in the limited. But you'll know right away because it's gonna have those two LCD screens and just a speedometer in the middle. Obviously, it doesn't go into sport mode, being the police interceptor just stops at drive, but it's working perfectly. Very glad for 50 bucks going from that ugly thing to this, 100 times worth it. So if you're, I'm sure this works on the Ford Police Interceptor utility on the Explorers. I'm pretty sure it works on those Explorers as well. I don't think there'd be a big difference, but much cleaner. Next step, that radio has to go, either a factory radio or we're just gonna buy the same dash panel and somehow mock up a double din radio. So that's gonna be my next project. If I don't get it now, maybe I'll get it in the summer. But if you guys like it, if you guys like this video, and can you please make sure to subscribe? It helps me out a lot. Share it to your buddies. I'm gonna be posting this on my Instagram and my Twitter, so hopefully this helps you guys out. And if you do want to see more on this vehicle, make sure you check out my channel. I got lots of more content on this vehicle. But other than that, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one.